Right now, police in Waterbury want your help finding a person or the people who killed one man and injured another in a stabbing. 47-year-old Samuel Lopez has died. Police tell us all of this happened on Washington Street, not far from Washington Park. The person who was hurt has now been released from the hospital and is expected to be okay.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Nat.
Naty, how are you, Billy? Oh my God, it's been so long.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Yes, and I have seen you briefly here and there, doing episodes with people, like big people that I was like, well, okay. I was like, wow, because we go back, we from the trenches, like. So for me, I was so proud of you. I'm like, you know what? If we couldn't make it, if I couldn't make it, at least someone's making it. And so I always wanted to tell you how proud I was of you. And I'm like, look at my boy doing it, like on TV. Like, people don't know, people don't realize, like, how far you have come, so far. And I am really, like, I am so glad that I got to talk to you to tell you how proud I am, because it's not easy. It is not easy out here. And for you to find a talent, something that you love, something, a passion, because people go to work every day and they hate it. But your work is almost like not even work, right? Because you love it.
Yeah,
I
do this every day, all day.
Exactly. And that's what makes it, like, so much more special, because it's like you're just chilling every day. But I'm really happy to see you after all this time. I think the last time I seen you was in Bristol. I want to say you did this tattoo for me. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You did this tattoo for me. And that was in, like, what? Like
2000, I don't even
6?
know.
I think it was around 7. Yep, I think it was around.
Last time I went to prison was like 2009, I think.
Wow, you've come far.
I might be wrong, but
Yeah,
you've had a
I
lot of
came
things
out.
go on in your life.
Yes, yes, absolutely. 2015. I've been out 11 years by the grace of my daughter. By the grace of my daughter, I looked when I got on that bus in 2015 and I was leaving. I said in my heart, sometimes you just know when you're done. And I was like, I'm done. And I got out and I made a family, and my daughter saved my life. My daughter really saved my life.
If you don't
And
mind me asking, your daughter's big now too. She's huge. Like,
she's 9.
that's crazy.
My baby's 9. And then my other daughter, she'll be 23 in September. She's doing great. She's doing awesome. She's also a phlebotomist like me. Yep, she's in the field of phlebotomy. She's driving a 2020. I'm like, wow, at 23, I was walking, trooping it. Like,
Right.
she's doing it.
It's
I
definitely
can't
something to
judge.
be proud of,
I am so proud. I am, like, I don't get to see her a lot because she works a lot. But as far as my 9-year-old, do you know they wanted to skip her? She has never got a B in her life. She is
Skipper up
so
the
smart.
grades. Skipper and grades.
Yes. I didn't want to do it. I didn't agree with it for a few reasons. One being she didn't want to leave her friends. Another being I felt like maybe if possibly the work was too hard, she might give up. She might start slacking in the work because it was too hard. Because she's in algebra, and so I don't know what comes after that. But I'm like, I don't want to pressure her too much. So unfortunately I said no, and I didn't do it, but that girl has never even gotten a B. Her vocabulary is, but you know what? I'm also a stay-at-home mom, and my mommy game strong. I may I may not be much, but my mommy game strong. I
You gotta
make
be on
sure
top
I
of it.
do what I gotta do for my baby. That's my heart. That's why I'm here right now talking to you, because of her, you know?
Yeah. And you've dealt with a lot of tragedies in your life.
I
And
have.
and I've seen it on the internet. It's pretty wild what happened. That's what you're gonna tell me a story today about how someone was taken
Yeah,
from you. How
a
did you
lot of
meet?
people.
Do you want to talk about it?
It started out with my grandfather. We actually came to this country. We fled to this country because he killed his brother from Italy. So that was my first real tragedy of losing someone. And that's when I was very young. I think I was 6. That was my first tragedy. After that, it just was like a domino effect. I mean, I found my father dead with a needle in his arm. Um, After that, my uncle, who I was very close to, found his girlfriend cheating. He stabbed the man to death. He's in jail for 33 years.
Oh,
Um, he was really kind of all I had at that point, because my mother and my father were doing drugs, and after that, I found my father with a needle in his arm, dead. Then it went to my grandmother. I was in prison when it happened. I found out on the news. Nobody had the decency to call and tell me. Um, m- my little 17-year-old cousin murdered her. And after that
what was that
came,
all about? What? Why did she murder your
um,
grandma?
Angelina was dealing with a 38-year-old married man. Now she was 17, as I said. So she had no business doing that. And I guess he wanted her to try acid. And I never did acid before, but from what I hear, you're supposed to take a little piece. Well, she took the whole sheet. She thought my grandmother was a demon, and she stomped on her neck and her stomach until she turned blue. And this is her words. I spoke to her in gym one day. She was originally in protective custody because, they didn't know. I went to the funeral from prison.
They let you
They didn't
go.
know
They
how.
let you go with shackles
Yes,
on and everything.
yes, yes. But I had to go like 5 hours before everyone else, so I couldn't see no one. And people from Italy were coming. People from Puerto Rico were coming. People from Florida were coming. So, I would have loved to see them people,
Yeah.
but I didn't have. I was unfortunate, and I didn't have that option. But I did see her. After that, I came home, and a month later, my other grandmother came to, show me her condolences, see me. She hadn't seen me at that time. I did like 18 months. That was my last bid that I did. That was 11 years ago. And the bathroom and the basement, she had never been in the house, were like side by side. So she picked the wrong door, not knowing, as well as I just picked her up from the hospital. So she was groggy from the medication. She fell down the cement stairs, brains scattered all over the wall. At that time, I have a 23-year-old and a 9-year-old. Well, she's almost 23. She's seen it all. She was like, I don't know, 7, 8. She's seen it all. She's seen her go down the stairs. She's seen it all. She's seen the blood all over the walls. And I ran down there and I went to go pick her up because my grandmother slept with a lot of pillows because she was overweight. And so she didn't like to be flat. So my first instinct was to pick her head up so she could breathe, because she couldn't breathe laying on her back. And
Yeah.
my whole hand went inside her head. And I got scared and I let go, and her head, like, and I was like, oh my God, like, It was just bad, and it was just a domino effect. After that, my aunt inherited all the homes, the money. Us grandkids were supposed to each get an apartment from the three family house. Obviously not the one that killed her, but me, my cousin Anthony, and my cousin Angelina were supposed to get each an apartment. She fucked us all. She sold the properties in Italy. She sold the properties in Florida. She sold the properties in Lantern Park. She sold Washington Street. She sold it all. On top of taking all the money, we were each supposed to get 10 grand each grandkid. Well, karma, and I'm telling you, and I say it all the time, God don't play about me, and God always spin the block. And you know what? She lost everything. She ended up homeless in a place called Tent City, somewhere in Florida. It's called Tent City. She just so happened to find a bag of fentanyl on the floor. Um, a gentleman that was with her had told everybody this, the police, which in turn came to us, and she died. Then my Aunt Carmel, the last one left, the last one standing, had HPV. Now, if she would have had taken care of it and did her 6-month pap smears, they would have zapped each cancer spot as they came. But
Yeah.
she didn't. So they built and built and built until they got to her brain, and she died.
Wow.
So my family went like this, like a domino effect. Right now, it's me and my daughter.
But now you got your own family to bring
I
up in the
mean,
world and carry on a legacy, right?
well, I'll tell you what. I make sure my daughter don't see what I see, hear what I heard. I make sure my daughter don't, like, my daughter is so sheltered. She heard her one of her classmates say frickin'. She came home, Billy. She was like, she was, do you believe? She said, and I loved it because you know what? It told me, you know what? You're doing something right. Like, I really shelter her the best I can. I keep her away from everything. I monitor what she watches on TV. I monitor. My daughter has never had a sleepover. Never. Because I can't. I'll be a wreck. Number one. Number two, you don't know who's there. It could be maybe a good friend that you trust. An uncle could be there, a cousin. It doesn't matter. I don't trust anyone. My daughter has never had a sleepover. I let people come here. Um, some because um some children have been exposed to more than others.
Yeah.
And so I watch who I bring around because some friends she just can't have, you know?
Yeah.
So, she does have friends that come over and they play PlayStation or, what's the other one she got? It starts with a W. I'm so,
The Wii, the Nintendo Wii, right? Wii.
she got the Switch, and then she got the the other game, whatever it is. It's like PlayStation, but it's the other one.
Yeah, the Wii, I think.
No, it's called something else. Oh my god, that's gonna drive me crazy. But yeah, needless to say, like I've had a lot of tragedy in my life, but you know what it's like? It's like there has been so much loss and death that it almost doesn't phase me no more. It almost doesn't phase me no more, Billy.
But
It
you've
it,
had a
it
big
almost
one
doesn't.
recently. Recently, you've had a big one and someone been arrested.
A
So,
huge one. A huge one.
bri-
Sammy. Oh,
you briefly explain to me what happened real quick, and then we'll get into like how you met him and how this whole thing transpired. Just tell me real quick on what happened, what you know of, and then we'll get into the story.
honestly, that morning because he gets out. He works third shift.
Explain
So,
who he is. Who we talking about?
okay, Sammy. When Sammy came from Puerto Rico, he came from Puerto Rico. He came with his children and the girl that he was with at the time. I met him 30 years ago. We were young, little kids, whatever, riding bikes, children. To fast forward it, Sammy was an insomniac. He couldn't sleep. So he worked third shift. He would chill in front of this bodega, chill, talk to his boys, whatever. And I would always drive by to get my coffee. And I would go that route to see him. And, he would always want to see my daughter, and my daughter would always want to see him. It was like a ritual that we had. Well, this particular morning, June 28th, I'll never forget the date, and I don't remember anything. So for me to remember that is huge. I seen him and he was mad, and I have a lot of regrets from that day, but we ended up going to Buffalo Wild Wings. And he started with a conversation about this. I'm going to him, and I cut him off. And I feel bad now because I was like, listen, you choose to stand at that bodega drinking Coronas. I don't want to hear it. That's your choice. That's how you want to live. Live like that. I don't want to hear the bonchinchando. I don't want to. And now it's like, if I would have listened,
Well,
if I would have
he was
listened,
having a confrontation with somebody around that area.
I was like, that's what you get. You want to stand in front of there with a bunch of people that don't care about you. Like, we care about you. We love you. Your family loves you. Them people don't care about you. If you die tomorrow, and I said it, if you die tomorrow, you think them people care? They're going to light a few candles. They're going to RIP, and then they're going to forget about you in 2 days. And I said that. And I said, but one thing I got to say, Sammy was trying. Sammy wasn't the Sammy that passed away June 28th was not the Sammy from that I met. Now we have been here already for about 5 years from my country. So my grandmother already established a home, and so we let his family move into um one of the floors. I think it might have been the basement, the second floor. I don't remember. I was too young. So we ate together. Italian people. Our table was as long as my house. We had meatballs, and we were, my grandmother was outside and my grandfather, and they were killing rabbits and putting them in the soup. And, our house was the big driveway that you went to and partied, and everybody went there, and everybody knew Italia. And she was so cheap, Italians, and they would have parties, and she would be with her garbage bag picking up everybody's empty can. And I mean, this lady had houses and money, but if you seen her, you would feel bad. You would want to give her $5. But really, she had money. But that's why she had money, because she lived in that way. So Lucy, the mother, the brothers, the sisters were still in Puerto Rico. They didn't come quite yet until later on, years later. So it was us. It was us. And then there was like a lady that lived on the third floor that never came out. And if she came out, it was to get in her car and go. So we lived as a family. We had the vines, and we grew the tomatoes, and we grew the fruits, and we grew everything. And, she would send me out to get a cucumber, and Sammy out to get a tomato, and Boo Boo out to get this. And she beat up us with her shoes. And when we did bad things and she knew we smoked weed, she looked at our eyes, and she would beat us up with her chancla. And, we lived together like a one big family. Raul, and that's how we lived for many, many, many years as a family. And so, Sammy was hard to look at on the exterior. A lot of people looked at him and they were like, like he had a mean look. He didn't smile much. Thank God, and I feel very blessed. And I'm not saying it. People probably think I'm saying it to throw shade and I'm not. And I'm not. But I'm blessed that he had my name on his face twice. And I'm so blessed that he got to, it's like part of me got to go with him,
He got
So
your name right under his eyes too, right?
and right here, and on the top of his eyebrow. And I just feel like, a part of me was able to go with him, On the exterior, people looked at him and like, get away from him. But he was a big teddy bear. Sammy was a big teddy bear. He really was. But for the ones he loved, he would do anything for. He would give you the shirt off your back. I mean, he would do anything for anyone. But the thing is, he did everything for everyone, and no one did anything for Sammy.
Yeah.
It was like give, 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 give. And when Sammy was in crisis or needed something, there was no one that he could call. And I seen a big change in Sammy when his mother died. That's when Sammy, I want to say, gave up, didn't, but that was a very traumatic thing for Sammy because, he lost Boo Boo. He was in jail when that happened. And he was very, very upset. I tried to take pictures at the funeral, but, everyone was like, no pictures, no pictures. And I knew that was wrong because at the end of the day, one day, a picture is all you're going to have. And Sammy said that. Sammy was so upset that no pictures were taken of Boo Boo in the casket, the whole thing. He was livid. And unfortunately, people were trying to do a GoFund to raise money to bury him, and they weren't able to. But one thing I do want to say is, and I don't know if it's God or whatever, but it makes me feel good because our families, both of our families, every single one is buried in the same cemetery. My grandmother,
they all go to the same spot.
their family is on one side, literally the last side, and literally my family is on the last side. And Boo Boo used to tell me he used to sit at because my grandmother and my grandfather had that plot when they were alive for 20 years. So they always had that plot. They always had that insurance because they didn't want to leave, financial burdens to their son and daughters. And so they always had that plot. And Sammy used to say, yeah, I was at the cemetery, and he would sit there and he would drink and he would just sit because, he'd be like, I was visiting Noni, and my grandfather was more of really a hard man. Like, and he didn't know English. My grandmother knew English, but not like that. Like, she would say, like, they would be like, what'd she say? Like, they would get little pieces, but they'd be like, what'd she say? And she'd get mad. If you didn't understand her, she would get so mad and she would take off her shirt to hit you. Like, and it's funny, one particular story, I used to have to go with her to the doctors because he didn't understand her. And one day he asked me, see, this is how people pretend like they don't be understanding, but they do. He asked me her name, whatever, and then he asked me her weight, and I said 300 pounds. He ain't got 300 pounds. The kid ain't got 300 pounds. Like, telling me, who's 300 pounds? Like, she went nuts. And I remember that day, like, I gotta laugh because it's like, why am I here? Because you definitely did understand what I said. And you went off. but yet I'm here translating for you. Like, you know what's going on. But that loss and every other loss, it's like it really. He was someone I could call in 3 in the morning, and he would be here. He was someone, if I couldn't pay my rent, he was gonna pay it. He was someone, if I was broke down on the side of the street, he was coming. He was one of them people, and not for everybody. He had to love you. And one thing about Sammy, Sammy loved me a lot. Sammy loved me a lot. And I was with Sammy for 2 years. When he came out of prison, he had seen me on Facebook and he sent me a friend request and we were talking. We ended up meeting up at the park, and I always thought Sammy was cute, but he was just not a settled down guy. So it was just left like that. And he always bothered me and give me a kiss and like, but I looked at him like family. I always thought he was a handsome man. Sammy's a very handsome man. But I never wanted to go there with him because he just, he was a player and I just didn't want to. I knew better. When he got out of prison, we were walking a trail, just talking, and I seen so much growth in Sammy. Like, he was talking about wanting to get his credit score up. He was talking about not selling drugs. He was talking
Is that
about
what he went
getting
to
a.
prison? Is that what he went to prison for?
He went to prison for a gun. He shot in the air for the second time. So he went for 3 years. He was actually on the ankle bracelet when he came out. I just seen growth in him. I seen a lot of growth in him, and I seen an older man. I didn't see the young, wild Sammy. I seen he was more quiet and to himself. He was more of an introvert rather than being the life of the party. And, I just seen something different in him. And he was literally telling me, like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a job. And now, mind you, Sammy never had a job in his life. And we started talking about being together, like, just that fast. Just that fast. He was like, let's take a picture. And I'm like, for everybody to see, like, this is going to blow the world's mind. Like, are you crazy? And he was like, I don't care. Let's take a picture and let the world see, because I want you and I want to be with you and I want to take care of you and I want to take care of your daughter. And I was like, and we took a picture and we never separated. And the world went nuts. Everybody went nuts. It's like, we've been through so much. Let us be happy. Let us be happy. We've been through hell. And Sammy did, before he left, he had a baby's mother. She decided to leave him while he was in prison, and she had a new boyfriend. So it wasn't like anybody was stepping on anybody's toes. He had been single for 3 years. I had been single for 4 years. And it went from there. He treated me, Billy. I never been treated like that. I wasn't allowed to go into the car. He had to open the door for me. Like, things that I never, when we would go places, he would open the door for me. Like, he was a gentleman. And And that wasn't a Sammy I knew. I knew a player Sammy. So that's why I say the only reason I gave him a chance is because the growth that I seen. He never got a job. I told him, I kind of skipped ahead. I told him, if you don't get a job, I can't be with you. 5 days later, he had a job, his first job of his life.
Was he working all the way until he passed away?
Absolutely. Didn't miss days, and when it would snow, he would be there for 4 days, making money, doing the right thing. Then we started with his credit, started getting his credit. You know, I started the females that he was with didn't push him the way I pushed him, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't allow things that others allowed. I stood on business, you know? You're gonna respect me. You're gonna, and he did. He would spend thousands and not care. He bought me a car, went and to put $9,000 and bought me an Acura. Like, he did everything for me. My daughter at Christmas, she's only one kid. The Christmas tree was so big, you almost couldn't walk in my kitchen because the presents came out so hot that you almost couldn't even open the refrigerator. You had to like push the presents. She's one kid. I mean, he was buying her $2,000 chains. He was doing things that I never had. I never experienced. So I was like, is this Sammy? Like, I didn't know this Sammy. And nobody did. This was a new Sammy, you know? He wanted to change. He wanted to be a new man. And like I said, he would be in front of that bodega. He would be buying everyone beers. He'd buy the whole store beers. The whole store.
Would there be a lot of people out there at the bodega?
Oh, yes. A lot of people. And they all knew Sammy was going to buy the beer and the weed. They all knew that they could count on Sammy for that. And he was there pretty much every day.
Did he ever have any altercations there?
He never did. He never did. And that day we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. He didn't really have a lot of money because he had just bought a new car. That was his thing, cars and motorcycles. That was his that was his like toys. That was his thing. So he was paying off his car. So he didn't really have it like that. He just lost his mother. He's the one that cremated her. He's the one that bought necklaces for everyone. Then his daughter lost her baby at 4 months old. He bought ashes for all them. Like he was everybody had their hand out to Sammy, you know?
Yeah.
But there was nobody that Sammy had, you know? And Sammy, if you just looked in his eyes, you could see that Sammy was yearning for love. Now, me and Sammy were together for 2.5 years. And I'm going to tell you, in that 2.5 years, Sammy did a lot for me. You know, things happen, people grow, certain things, I don't want to talk ill of the dead. That's not my intention. Of course not. But he was a very jealous man. And he had a very hard upbringing. You know, he didn't have it easy. He had a very, very hard upbringing. So, I mean, he had problems like we all do. I have severe anxiety. Like we all have, problems. So I ended it with Sammy and it killed him. And that man walked around my building for a year. He got out of work and he had a friend that lived next door with a porch, and he would sit on the porch and he would look up, at my window, and I just look, knowing Sammy, I would just look in his eyes and he would be like, and I could see the tears just rolling. And I would get out of my car and he would run to my car and he would get on his knees and please, please, please. But I I lost the love and I reverted back to looking at him as family. And he couldn't take that. It threw him over the edge. Bad. Bad. It threw him over the edge that I can tell you a story. There was a man grilling. Now he was grilling for everyone, himself, anyone that was there. Nothing, no big deal. He asked my daughter, "You want a cheeseburger? You want a hot dog?" Gave it to her. He asked me if I wanted a cheeseburger, a hot dog. I don't know. I said no. He fought that man for asking me that. Another situation, we were in the mall and it was two black guys. They looked at my ass. He went up to them black guys who towered over him. And Sammy was a big dude. And he hitting them in the forehead. "Don't ever look at my girls. I'll you know. And they must have seen the like crazy in his eyes because there was two of them. I don't want to tell you later on. He dropped me off. And later on, he followed them to their house and he is lucky he didn't go to prison, is all I'm going to say about that. But Sammy was a good man. Sammy was a great man. And when he loves you, he loved you.
Yeah, he probably felt like he was protecting his own people, you know?
And so for someone to do that to him, I can't wrap my head around it.
Now,
I can't understand it.
can you walk me through the day that you were notified about this situation?
That's a crazy story. June 28th, my phone just ding 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 ding. I mean, going crazy, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I was taking a nap. I just kept seeing "sorry for your loss, R.I.P. Sorry for your loss, R.I.P." And at the time, he had a girlfriend. When we used to be like, I would pull over in front of the store that he would chill at, and we would talk. And he'd be like, "Let me come home. Let me come home to this day." And I was like, "Sammy, no, because I'm with someone else. Unfortunately, they are incarcerated. You know my husband, Anthony Diaz.
Yeah.
We're actually getting married. We're waiting for the warden to approve it. And I hope he doesn't like say, 11 years ago she did this, and that, Either way, when he gets home, we will. But Anthony has been supporting me while he's in prison. Okay? Just to tell you what kind of man that is. Another great man. Just not with the jealousy and the,
Yeah.
baggage per se. He had got involved with a girl and she would see us all the time. And she knew, he told her to her face, "I love her. She's the love of my life. I'll never take the tattoos off ever."
So
Even
he had these tattoos while he's with this other girl.
he was not taking them tattoos off. His baby mother that he was with for 18 years, the second baby mother,
yeah,
she brought him to the tattoo shop.
What?
He was not. She said, "I am not dealing with you looking at that every day. Like, it's big as hell, and then it's big as hell here. Like, I'm not, and I wouldn't either. Who would? on top of me, sweating on top of me, looking at Naty.
So you said your phone was going off. Rest in peace. And then what happens next?
So I'm like, what is going on? And then I see some lady. I'm not gonna mention her name. And she said it was 11. I'll never forget. It was 11:48 p.m. And she said, "This is so and so," which was his girlfriend. And she said, "I just want you to know that Sammy passed away. My condolences to you." I looked at him like family, just like everyone else, just like you guys did. And then I dug further and, and took it from there and found out.
You were shocked though, right? You're like not.
I was. It didn't register. It didn't register. It didn't register. And when it finally did register, was 2 days ago. I had a dream. And in my dream, Sammy was saying, "Baby, baby." And I was looking, because I knew the voice, but I was looking. And when I looked over, he was smiling. He was just smiling. And it made me feel better. Like maybe he was giving me a sign. Because I always tell people, like, if you die and you could give me a sign, like, do it, Not that I'm just saying, but he was looking at me and he just had the biggest smile. And even in his casket, if you look at him, like, he had a big smile. And I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll never forget, I made coffee. And I looked at pictures, but it wasn't the same. I started looking at lives, listening to his voice, seeing him. And that's when it hit. Like, that's when it was like real, seeing him walk and talk, seeing us feeding the ducks, seeing him with my daughter, seeing us go and see Christmas lights, seeing us at the Bronx Zoo, hearing his voice, seeing his face. It just made it real. And I broke down. And that was the first time I cried. And I'm going to tell you something. That was the first time I cried. I didn't cry for my grandmother. I didn't really cry for my father. I didn't cry for my aunts. I didn't cry when my uncle went to prison, but I cried. I cried. And the more videos I watched, the more I cried. And my eyes were so swollen the next day that I couldn't even barely see. I looked like a monster. What really hit me is to think of Sammy laying on the floor in pain, in 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 immense pain, stabbed I don't know how many times. I don't know. And I don't know for what even.
Do you
I've
know
seen that
anything
man.
about what happened? Do
I
you
know
know?
nothing. I have seen that man before. That's it.
But you heard
And
what happened, right? He was stabbed at the store. You don't know.
and I I just think of Sammy on the floor, just hurting, like stabbed, 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 in pain, alone, 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 in the middle of the street, on the floor, alone. And Sammy was, like I said, a big teddy bear. Sammy needed love. He was that type of man. He needed love. He needed constant reassurance. And he needed love because he didn't get love like me. He didn't get love when he grew up. So when he was with someone, it, he needed that. He needed that
The constant reassurance.
reassurance. He needed that reassurance. He needed that constant. And I mean, to a point like seeing a doctor, would have helped him a lot, I believe, or counseling, like us all. They say we should all go to counseling. They say anybody that has had trauma like us and grew up in terrible environments, and they say we all could really, really do well from counseling and really be successful, and that we all should go to counseling. But that's what really killed me, was thinking about him on the floor alone in pain. That's what, like,
This is the man who stabbed him, right?
yep.
So it says right here, it says a fatal stabbing occurred in Waterbury, Connecticut on Washington Street, the result of a 47-year-old Samuel Lopez. Another man was injured in the incident, suffered serious facial lacerations. Police identified 50-year-old Jose Ayala as a suspect and subsequently charged with murder. The incident stemmed from a dispute between the men.
And I wish I knew. I wish I knew why. Just why? Why? Why did you have to take it to that extreme? Why? Whatever happened to going in a park and fighting and going home with your lumps, and what this stabbing and shooting, and why? Why? What could be so bad? What could be so bad? And the other guy that got stabbed, I don't know about that. Why? Who was he? Was he trying to protect Sammy? I'm thinking, why else? He must have been trying to protect Sammy. You think? I mean, I don't know. I know nothing.
I mean, it was right at the store, right? They probably have surveillance footage of the whole thing.
And everybody knows why. But you know what? And I could find out why. You think I can't find out why? I've been going to that store for years.
And this is like what you said. They're going to light some candles and then it's going to be...
Yep. Next. Yeah. You want to know how many people were before him with them candles there?
Do a lot of things like this happen in that neighborhood?
Before Sammy could get his name out there, they had to take someone else's name off the wall.
Because it's constantly stuff happening there, right?
It's constant. It's constant. And for nothing. It's for nothing.
The 17-year-old girl was just killed on Willow Street. She was shot in the chest.
I didn't even know that. For the most minute things, people will kill. I'm telling you something. Jealousy ain't no joke. Jealousy got people out here. And the thing I kept telling Sammy, there was one thing Sammy used to do that I'm sure could have. I believe a lot of people were envious of Sammy. I don't believe. I know. Because when Sammy would buy a beer, he wouldn't take $1 or $5 out. He would take the whole rack out. Like this. And I used to tell him all the time, Sammy, those are not your friends. I'm your friend. Your family's your friend. Your children are your friend. Those people are not your friend. Stop taking that money out and stop bringing that money with you. But he didn't stop. And I'm going to tell you something about Sammy. He didn't take it out to show off. He took it out because he was so proud of the progress he made. He came from nothing. And he worked his ass off. He went to work every day. He would do doubles. I told you, in the snow, he would do 5 days just shoveling. Because that, I don't know if you know or not, that was his cousin's establishment. His cousin, not establishment, his cousin was the boss. So Sammy was So people in his job were jealous of him because he sat down when he wanted to. He did what he wanted to when he wanted to. He left when he wanted to. He came when he wanted to. So he had a lot of jealousy there as well. So I would always tell Sammy, stop, Sammy, stop bringing all that money. Stop it. But it wasn't, he was just so proud of himself. And I said, I know why you're doing it. But you got to understand, they don't look at it like that. They look at it like, oh, he thinks he's better than us. Oh, he thinks that he got more than us. Oh, he think he that nigga. Oh, okay. You know? So
Yeah.
he had a lot of people that had hatred for him. And I know that, and he knows that. And you know what he said to me in Buffalo Wild Wings? When I said, listen, I don't want to hear it. That's your choice. You want to sit out there drinking Coronas, buying Coronas for everybody that don't give a fuck about you? I don't want to hear about it. I'll never forgive myself for that because that was one time that I should have heard about it and I should have listened. And for him to bring it up, it must have been something, you know, because obviously look at what we're going look at now. I believe it was all out of jealousy. Jealousy is, I believe, I really believe it was out of jealousy. I really believe that,
And
honestly.
he had a funeral and all that, right?
He had a viewing, and that was it. Because, as I said, the money couldn't be, there was not enough money. They couldn't, the GoFund. And you know what? That is so crazy to me because, according to people, Sammy had thousands of friends. Where were they? You know? Sammy, that's my boy. We go back from, oh my God, we go way back. That's my boy. I love him. I'll do anything for him. He's giving everybody and their mother money like he's Santa Claus. And I used to yell at him all the time about it. I used to be on his ass about it. But that's just Sammy. That's his heart. He would take his shirt off to give to somebody, you know? And where's all these people? And you know why? It was just, they were never his friends. They were just jealous of Sammy. And they wanted, it was almost like they wanted to stay in his life to keep updates on, is he still doing good? Is he still working? Does he still got money? Does he still got a nice car? He bought a bike? He bought, like just for updates. But I have a lot of people, and I do want to shout them out. I have a lot of people that I don't even know, cousins of Sammy's in New York, in Buffalo, where he's from, one place that he's from, sending me pictures of the wake, sending me just everything. They seen me that I had wrote I was gonna do an interview, saying, I can't wait to see and hear all the things that you guys did and all the fun you had. And, and these are people that I don't know. And they gave me, and I want to tell you, I got so much love. I got so much love. I got hundreds of condolences. I love you. I'm here for you if you need me. People that I would never even expect. I got so much love. And I just want to shout those. There's way too many people to say. But I do, you know who you are. And the people that send me, you know, constantly love and inspiration and kind words, almost when like I needed to hear them. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot, especially from people I don't even know, from his family, just
Yeah.
seeing us on Facebook. And thank God, because Sammy had made two Facebooks. One of them said Naty Sam Lopez, and one said Sammy Naty Lopez. And for like 3 weeks, I kept the Naty Sammy Lopez, and I was using it for about 3 weeks. And then I was like, nah, I wasn't into it anymore. And I told him I would appreciate if you could erase those. He said, I will never erase anything of me and you. Well, 2 years later, 3 years later, because I'm going on 3 years with Anthony. 3 years later, I am on those pages saying, erase these pages now. And now I look back and I'm like, I'm so happy he didn't erase them, because they have memories with my daughter, memories of things that we did, special things, you know?
Yeah.
So like I said, a picture, you never know. A picture might be all you got. And a picture is all I got of my aunt, of my uncle, of my grandmother, of my dad, of Sammy, I'm glad that he said I would never, ever, ever erase those pages. And if you go on them, you will see me running my mouth, erase these pages. How many times do I got to tell you what's wrong with you? You're crazy. You need help, And he was like, he didn't care what I said. He's like, I would never erase these pages.
Yeah, when I seen this situation, I was shocked that this guy was so close to you and the connection, I'm like, damn. So I wanted to
30
give you a
years.
chance to tell his story, share with the people what he was like and what happened.
And I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it, Bill. Because people got to know, like I said, on the exterior, they looked at him like he was a monster. He was a big teddy bear. My daughter used to jump all over him, color on him, color all over his stomach, write all over his stomach, write all over his face. And he was just so good with her, so good with her. And before his passing, he had an appointment, because I'm a Cancer, so my sign is 69. And before his passing, he was putting 69, but keeping the 69 white, but black around it.
Yeah.
And he was going to put my daughter's name on his arm before he passed away. And we were not together for 3 years at that point. But he said, I don't care. That's my daughter. He used to say it. That's my daughter. We weren't even together. I'd be her last birthday, I shut down Roller Magic, and I had all her friends and everything for roller skating.
Yeah.
He came with balloons. I can't even tell you, so many balloons that it was like something you see in a movie for a child. For a
Yeah.
child, it was like, oh my God. And he started throwing hundreds on the floor. And he's like, get it, Milana, get it, get it, get it. And he threw $1,000 of hundreds, each hundred on the floor. Get it, get it, get it. And I started getting it, like playing. Oh my God, I'm getting it, I'm getting it. And she's like, no, that's my money. And we were playing, and I was getting the money, and she was getting the money. And he didn't want to go to the party, obviously, because of Anthony. He would never forget her birthday. He would never forget, my birthday. My birthday's on Saturday. Like, me and him would have done something. It doesn't matter he had a girlfriend. He would let
Happy
his
early
girlfriend.
birthday.
Thank you.
I
It
hope you have
doesn't
a
matter
great
he
weekend.
had a wife, a girlfriend. He let them know. Listen, when it comes to Naty and that little girl, that's my little girl, and don't ever ask me to not be with her, or because it will never happen. And you could tell him, and he'll agree with you, but it's not happening. You know, he will pacify any girl he's with. But at the end of the day, and his girlfriend cried to me, and she ended up being a nice woman. She was she ended up being a very respectful woman, and I wasn't expecting that because I had different experiences with, you know, the first baby mother, I mean the second baby mother. So I was expecting more of along the lines of that. But she was a woman. She was not an immature child. She talked to me as an adult. You know, she didn't come at me as aggressive, and I told you, she told me about the incident. She sent her condolences. We met in person. We hugged. She cried, and she told me, she said he would never ever stop loving you. And I'm not going to lie to you. She said it broke my heart. She said, but I knew that there was nothing I could do, that you were the love of his life. It hurt me to see her hurt
Yeah.
because I'm not looking to hurt any women. And at that point, I already have someone that I am in love with. I now look at him as family. So it's like there's no reason to be, I'm not a threat, you know?
Yeah.
But being an ex to another woman, you're always going to be, you know. And we talked for 2 days, and then it got to a point that she couldn't handle it. She had to stop talking to me because it hurt her too much to see me, his ex, I guess younger. She was saying younger, and you know, whatever her reasons were, she just couldn't handle it. And it's sad because, you know, she was a nice lady, and I got no beef with her. I got no problems with anyone. I stay to myself. I'm a mother, and at this age, to be beefing in the streets is embarrassing. It's
Yeah, it's true.
embarrassing. It
You're right.
really is embarrassing.
We're
It's like
grown up, you know?
y'all grandmothers, y'all grandmothers, y'all need to chill. You know, it's not that serious. And now the man is dead. Y'all still gonna fight? Y'all still wanna
Dude,
fight?
does he still have a GoFundMe page?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And if he does, it really doesn't matter because the money won't go to his benefit. And there's underlying issues about that. His belongings. There's, you know, a lot of things going on about who's getting what, and it's just sad because their belongings. It's a car. It's a car.
What about the court case? Are you going to go to court when they bring this guy to
I will
trial
be
or
I will be there. I will be there. I will be there. And I'm not going to be there like someone asked me, a good friend of mine that I grew up with was like, "Are you going to go to the, you know, when he first comes out?" I'm like, "It's 2 seconds." I want to be there when when is they're talking about what happened, and they're, you know, not when he comes out for arraignment. No, I'm not going to be there when he comes out for arraignment. I'm going to be there when it counts, when I could hear what happened, when I could see his face, when I could, you know, when it matters, when it counts, when it's the time to be there.
yeah?
I will be there. I will be there. Yes, I will.
Well, I wish you nothing but happiness in the future. And shout out to Anthony. Congratulations on you guys
Yes, thank you so
starting
much.
starting a life together, and I appreciate you coming on and telling Sammy's
And
story.
I
And
appreciate you having me, Bill. I appreciate you having me. And it's great to see you. It really is. It's
thank you.
great to see you. It's
You
great
too.
to keep on doing it. Don't let nobody get in your way because I know you got your haters too. I know it. I know it. because people want to see you do good, but never better than them.
No, they only hate if you're doing good, right?
And that's sad. Why?
They don't want to help lift
I
people up. People don't like that. They like to keep people
honestly,
down.
Billy, I was never like that. Like, if I win, I want us all to win. Like, I never had that mentality, that jealous, that, oh my God, you know how I am? When I see a girl who's doing better than me, I want to talk to her. Teach me something, because if
Yeah.
you're doing better than me, there's something you know that I don't know.
Yeah.
Help me out. Teach me. How did you get to where you become? What did you do differently than I'm doing that I'm not where you are? Where other people won't like her and will deem her as competition and talk about her as they do me, try to put her character down, try to make everybody not like her, lie about her, make her look this big, say things that are not true, and if they are true, exaggerate like this, and then recruit a bunch of people not to like you because you don't like me. Because you know, if you talked about yourself, baby, nobody would listen.
Well, thank you so much. You want to give anyone else a shout out before we go?
I want to shout out my baby, Anthony Diaz, and I want to shout out Sammy. And you will never be forgotten. And all my loved ones that passed away, you will always be in my heart. Yesterday was my grandmother's birthday, Italia. But I just want to, like I said, once again, I want to say thank you to the people that I know that gave me support. The people I don't know, I mean, the people I know haven't given me support, some people. So the people that I don't know that have given me support, that's very big. And I appreciate it. Sammy, I just, you know, we all had a different relationship with him. It's nothing to be a competition about. He had a different relationship with all of us, and he loved all of us. So, all we could do is wish the best, that he went to a better place than us, get on with our lives as the best we can, raise our children. With that being said, you will always live in my heart forever, as will all my loved ones. Yeah, shout out to Anthony. I love him, and I love Sammy to death. And I
And
love Boo Boo to death.
shout out to your daughter.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me, Bill.
Definitely. We'll talk in the future.
Absolutely. God bless you, babe.
You too. If you
Bye.
like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my
I
videos
love
every
it.
time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too bad. Start your own podcast. Peace.
Facts, baby.